And welcome to another episode, another edition of Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. And away we go, guys. I felt like $1,000,000 last night. The Giants beat the Eagles. We sit here. The excitement level is palpable. We had, hundreds of people watching, involvement back and forth. And I feel a little bit less than that, but still pretty unbelievably good one day after. The Giants beat the Eagles. Now, I figure you and I kind of are doing this together. I'm on almost no sleep, but I'm buoyed by the excitement and the knowledge that the New York Football Giants, here's the thing that makes it so unbelievable. They didn't just beat Philadelphia, they humiliated Philadelphia. They did. This is not a Rothenberg pro Giants. I'm always honest with you. The Giants humiliated the Philadelphia Eagles. And you saw it because Philly didn't score a point in the second half. And what happened was they took their will in the second half. The Giants started running the football, and there's nothing Philly could do. Scatterbo all of a sudden just continues to rip off run after run after run. There's nothing Philadelphia was able to do. And that's taking their manhood is what it is. That's what the Giants did. They basically told them, remember that it was like Vince Lombardi back in the day, and they used to run the same play. They're like, yeah, God, Vince, how could you just keep running the same play? They can't stop it. The Giants are going to run the football, and there's nothing Philadelphia could do. It was nothing short of sensational. That's what I was saying this morning. This performance from the Giants probably, guys, is the best performance you've seen from them since we go back to January of 23, when the Giants beat the Vikings in Minnesota to win that playoff game. I think that's probably true, that it's the first time since January of 23 since you felt like this with the Giants. They've had some wins here and there. They had 6 wins the year after they went to the postseason. They had 3 wins last year. It was awful. They had that beat Seattle. That's exciting for a second. But the Giants they've been brutal for 2 years. And the difference now is there's hope. And we discussed it last night. There's actual hope right now. Tyler Sweeney, YouTube member, welcome in. And we welcome you guys. We want you guys. I don't want to spend too much time on it at this very moment. And why is there hope? And again, we're going to get into everything this week. Locks, okay? Fantasy plays, play them if you got them. We're efforting getting a very special guest in just about 5 minutes. And he or she is absolutely wonderful. And if we're able to get this person, which I believe we will, you'll be very excited about it, and you should be. And I'm excited about this person. And we have a great relationship, and he or she is just really wonderful. We got to get into some stats. Like I said, our locks, some of the key components to this Giants team, some of the leaders of this team, the Brian Burns of this team, the Saquon Barkley shutdown that this team provided. How if you're Philadelphia, do you even get out of bed today? How do you give Saquon the ball 6 times carrying the football last week, and you double that this week 12 times? How is there a world? Do you remember the first 2 plays of the game? It was like Saquon for 18, Saquon for 9. And after those 2 carries, you gave him the football 10 more times. I love it. I'm here for it. But shame on this Eagles team right now. Shame on this Eagles team in a massive, massive way. So what made it work for the Giants? I'll tell you what made it work for the Giants. What made it work was the rookies. There's an energy. There's an excitement. There's a buzz. There's a feeling surrounding this team right now. And does it mean, I got a lot of this morning, what kind of a loser, speaking to me, and I don't think I'm a loser, but if you want to have that tact, you can have that tact. What kind of a loser would be this excited about a team that's 2-4? Well, I'll tell you what kind of a loser. This kind of a loser. And why? Because they manhandled Philadelphia. That's the team that either Philly or Dallas I hate the most in all of sports. So I beat one of the teams that I absolutely detest. All right? That's for starters. Secondarily, they are, you could say what you want. You could say Sirianni's not great and all of these things. Fine, true. They are the defending Super Bowl champions. True or not true? It's accurate. All right. So I beat a team I hate, and they own the mantle right now being the best team in the NFL heading into this season. And I got a lot of, Quinyon Mitchell didn't really play much of the game, and Jalen Carter wasn't able to play in this game. Oh, nobody cares. Nobody cares, okay? It is not a big deal. Malik Neighbors didn't play in this game. John Michael Schmitz got hurt during this game. So you want to play that game? Every team can play that game. The Niners can play that game. Brock Purdy didn't play in this game. Ricky Pearsall didn't play in this game. Juwan Jennings didn't play in this game. Rashee Rice didn't play in this game. Nobody cares. Nobody wants excuses. Nobody cares. So Tyler Sweeney wants to know, CMT, which is Cuddle Mary Trash, the things you hate most about Philadelphia, Sirianni, Tush Push, the fans. Ooh, I hate them all. I hate them all. God, that's a really good question. The Tush Push is really a repulsive play. The Philly fans. I'm going to marry the fans. I hate the fans the most. I detest Philadelphia fans. I'm going to cuddle. It's a good question. I'm going to cuddle Sirianni, and I'm going to trash the Tush Push. And I also think I'm not going to have to worry about the Tush Push for much longer because that thing is, in my mind, is clearly on the way out. So, but what you saw from the Giants, and it's renewed enthusiasm. And again, back to my original point, I understand why you're saying, why would you get so excited for a 2-4 football team? You're missing the point. Okay, you beat the Eagles. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. That's one. Put that to the side. There's hope. We talk about it all the time. Look at the Jets. Are the Jets awful? They're awful. But they don't have a quarterback. They don't have a guy that you look at and say, boy, I can hang my hat on that person. I'm highly excited about that person. I can't believe we have this guy. When was the last time you looked at the Giants and said, we have a real quarterback? Daniel Jones for a minute, Eli Manning. Eli Manning is 20 years ago. So it's been 2 decades since you looked at it and said, I have a real quarterback. And that's what you feel like. Because if you can't be excited by Jackson Dart, what can you be excited by? Right? If you can't be excited by Jackson Dart, what is it that excites you with this team right now? And the answer is, Scadaboo's exciting, and what he's doing on the ground is exciting. Some of the defensive pieces, not the secondary certainly, but Brian Burns is exciting, very exciting. Kayvon Thibodeau. But, overall, Andrew Thomas is exciting. There's not a ton of things that you look at and you say to yourself, boy, oh boy, things are going great. But Jackson Dart is that guy. So I think you have to wrap your arms around him. You see what he's doing to Dable. Like, Dable's, like, I can't even, I've never seen a coach act like this. Like, you can tell that Brian Dable realizes that his entire future as a head coach with this team and in this league relies right on the big shoulders of Jackson Dart. And he acted last night. It was bizarre. The guy goes down. They bring him into the tent. The coach is going into the tent. He's yelling at the team doctors. He says after the game, he would have taken timeouts had he known that Jackson Dart was this close from getting himself back into the game. It's weird. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. That kind of thing happens, but he's got it. Jackson Dart is him, is it. All right. I haven't spoken to her in years, but truth be told, she's one of my favorite people. I watch her all the time. There's tremendous pride. She is Mina Kimes, big star now at the ESPN. We bring her into Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. The great Mina Kimes. How are you?
I'm good. You could not have timed this up any better. Did you plan it this way for me to come on after a glorious Giants win?
Let me tell you, if I was able to plan this kind of stuff, I wouldn't be doing 3 wins last year and 2 wins so far this season. But I'm thrilled to have you. We're thrilled to have you. You're doing great. You're a big star. Every time I turn on ESPN, I see your beautiful face, and I'm so proud and thrilled that we were able to work together back in the infancy of your radio TV time at ESPN. Mina, I just said this. I don't know if you heard it. It's only 3 games, and I get it. He's it. This quarterback's going to be a really good quarterback in this league.
Yeah, this game in particular was so encouraging because against the Chargers, it was mostly the scrambling, right? Last week, obviously, you had the turnovers and it was somewhat disappointing. But I just thought he looked excellent throwing the ball in this one. And particularly, I thought he looked so decisive against the blitz. The Eagles had to blitz a lot because their pass rush wasn't getting it done. There's a whole other story. But I thought Dart was just fantastic at identifying the correct matchups when they sent pressure. He was accurate. Honestly, his best throw of the night might have been dropped by Theo Johnson. But I also, I came out of that game with I'm so curious to hear your take on this.
Yeah.
It is bothered me a little bit how much Brian Dable is running him. And I'm watching this kid thinking, this is the future of your franchise. He's spinning it. You're running him like he's like he just had the concussion. It felt like, I don't know. That is something I wanted to hear your thoughts on, because it made me a little bit uncomfortable, and I didn't love to see that from Brian Dable.
I agree with you, and I said before you got on, it's the way Brian Dable acts with him is a little bit curious as
It's a
well.
lot.
I understand that there's this love affair. I get that, and I'm excited by it, but it's a little awkward going into the blue tent like Mina. It's a little bit strange, but I agree with you. Running him to this extent, because it feels to me like Brian Dable knows this is it. Like, if I don't succeed with this kid and either show that he's going to be really good and or win games, I'm out. And I mean, who knows if he ever gets a head coaching job again. So I feel like he's pushing his chips to the middle of the table and they're going all in. That being said, they even before the injury, I felt like they're overly aggressive and run him too much.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I found, I agree with you wholeheartedly, really, really troubling is that once he went into the blue tent and Dable's going into the blue tent to follow him, which was bizarre, and then yelling at the doctors. And I hope you heard, he said after the game, he would have taken timeouts if it would have meant that he could have gotten him back in quicker, not had to go to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is a 15-year veteran in this league. He can't play 2 or 3 snaps. That was strange. But the thing that I found to be the most curious of everything that he did, and I agree with you totally, is that he comes back from a concussion or concussion protocol, and now you're continuing to run him and have him take the ball where he's getting leveled by guys. Like, what was that about?
I think what you're seeing and what I feel, what has given me some apprehension watching what should be a really exciting moment for Giants fans, right? Like, really thrilling to see what this kid is doing out there, is the danger or the risk that the Giants entered into when they kept the staff, because the incentives of the head coach might not be aligned with what's best for the team at all times. I don't mean to impute that he would, like, totally be self-serving in all of this, but we all know Brian Dable has to win games to survive this. And if I'm a Giants fan, I know you want to win games. I'm not saying winning games doesn't matter, but the thing that matters the most is developing, preserving the future of the franchise, the quarterback. So that was, in that moment, I was like, oh, this is where those incentives suddenly are kind of coming to the forefront. And if I'm a Giants fan, I just do not love seeing that. And I would really like to see him dial it back moving forward.
Right. But here's the thing. A coach that had long-term goals here, not that he doesn't think he'll be here long-term, because he probably does, watching the way Jackson Dart's playing and what he's getting out of him early on this season. But a coach that thinks, 3 years down the road or 5 years down the road, is he telling Jackson Dart, like, you can't take the abuse, you can't take the hits? He stated, like, this is the way he plays football, and this is the way. Well, he's 22. You're the coach. Maybe you have to sit him down and say, Jackson, if it means picking up a first down or sliding short of a first down to preserve to see another day, that's the direction we have to go in.
And some of these are designed runs too. It's not just Jackson Dart. I mean, I agree with you. He's got to inculcate that in Dart, but also some of these are designed runs, right? So, like, it's not just him scrambling. And I don't know. That's just something I think to monitor. And I didn't love it, and especially when they had the lead and all of this, I didn't love in this game. Look, running is always going to be a big part of Jackson Dart's game. It is one of his greatest attributes. And it was cool to see even week 1, like, okay, that's really translated to the NFL, because I really liked it about him in college at Ole Miss. Like, it wasn't just, he's athletic, he's big, but it was the way he runs. You didn't see him like bailing on pockets and running around back and then trying to turn the corner. He would run through the teeth of defense in college with great vision. He's clearly a great athlete. Translated immediately. That's great. And that's going to make life so much easier. I mean, we saw this with Josh Allen his first few years in Buffalo, as he was like acclimating to the league and getting accustomed to things, improving his decision-making and accuracy. That rushing ability gives you a floor as a quarterback. But you can't take that many hits, right? He has just taken way too many hits through the first 3 games. I just don't like to see that.
I mean, he's played 3 games. The first game he came up lame with a hamstring, right? Last night, you've had to see Russell Wilson 2 of the 3 games. So he has had to leave the game 2 out of 3 games. And the other time it was a hamstring, and it was questionable what that was going to be. So he has to dial it down a little bit. And I agree with you. The coaching staff has to figure out a way to tell him, be your guy, do what you do, but we have to dial it back a little bit. Now, on the positivity, because I'm not going to let you come on here and be negative today, my friend.
Yeah, let's be positive. What a thrilling moment.
Side of things, this kid played, I thought, brilliantly well. And he did it with, Mina, Lil Jordan Humphrey Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger. I mean, what happened? I mean, it just makes you upset that Malik Neighbors
I
is out
know,
because
it's
you
such a
think, what
bummer.
would he be like if he had? What would he be like if he had
Oh.
legitimate weapons around this offense?
I know. Little Jordan Humphrey, by the way, has been in the league for like quite some time, and I think still every time I'm like, how is he so big? His name's every time I see him, I forget that
Right.
he's
And
actually like
I always
very
find it
large.
to be very funny that his name, I don't know why, maybe this is my immaturity, Lil Jordan. Like, that's just a wonderful name.
Little
Yeah.
Jordan, but then he's 6'4", right? Um, I think yes, it's amazing that he did it with those players, but also, and again, you give some credit to Dable Kafka here. They were really able to attack the weakness of the Eagles defense, which is, well, it ended up being all the cornerbacks, but really Ringo has been that guy for them. But then, Mitchell goes out. And sometimes you have seen teams who haven't done that despite having wide receiver talent, who have been unable to really go after what is a pretty glaring weakness in Philadelphia. So I was impressed that with the Giants in terms of like finding, and Dart, obviously, and identifying it and being accurate, but they were really able to go after Philadelphia where they were weak in this game. And that's what you want to see, right? Not just a quarterback who's available of attacking that, but a coaching staff that is smart in the way they're going about it. I mean, they've called a good offense for him. I really do think so, outside of the QB runs.
Right. No, I agree with you. And the thing is, the energy of these rookies. I
Yeah.
mean, think of how rare this is that you have a team that's just floundering and laughed at, and really one of the jokes of the NFL, and you have two rookie players, of an undersized running back and a quarterback who the coach is banking on to save the entire franchise. And you know what? It feels like they're doing it. Like last
Yeah.
night, Scatterbo. I mean, could you imagine if he was the size of Derrick Henry? The guy would run through buildings, Mina. I mean, he is dangerous, and they can't stop him. They can't.
A great example of just watch the tape ahead of the draft. People are like, how athletic is he? And he's under. Just watch the tape, man. Like in the biggest moments, this kid was trucking for NFL caliber defenders, right? And back in college at ASU, they alluded to during the game. But again, it's similar to Dart's rushing ability. You've seen that translate to the NFL. But like, can we talk about Brian Burns for a second? Because I thought he was unbelievable. He's been unbelievable all year. I feel like people have kind of slept on it, and he was just incredible, and not just against as rushing the quarterback, but also against the run. I was so impressed by him in this game.
Yeah, no, he was great, and he's been great. There's a couple questions I want to get into as far as like the Dart aspect of this, and this is what you see I'm not saying he's great, but what you see from great players is that they make everyone around them better, right? Like Lil Jordan Humphrey, like, oh boy, why is this guy not playing more? He looks good. Jalen Hyatt is making catches. The offensive line, which has been a disaster, Mina, all of a sudden is playing at a much higher level. Well, what's the common theme? The common theme is the quarterback is playing at a level that everyone is able to be the best version of themselves.
100%. And as far as the offensive line goes, too, when you have a quarterback who not only can extend plays, but gets the ball out reasonably quickly, which was something Russell Wilson's just been awful at, right, for most of his career. And then also is a threat to run, and suddenly you can run the football well, and you're not constantly in third and longs, and you feel like you've got the defense on their toes. It all feeds into each other, and you get better play from everyone. Like, I think the run game too, just like the combination of Dart and Scatterbo and what they've been able to do with them, it's just going to make life. We talk about like, wow, these receivers aren't so good. Yeah, sure, but when defenses are actually worried about the run, and you're getting one-on-ones, and you're able to play action them and all of that, and the RPS, like it all flows together. And I think just lifting the floor of that run game with the two of these players has kind of made everything else easier for everybody.
100%. Not a Giants question, but an NFL related question. The tush push. I mean, you've had this thing. This is so stupid to run it 4 consecutive plays. Then you see DJ Davidson goes down. He gets banged up from it. Like, have we jumped the shark? I know that Jason Kelsey gives his impassioned speech and he can't get rid of it. It's not a football play. Guys are getting hurt. Nobody wants to see it. Are you on my side and it's not because I hate the Eagles, which I do, but can we move on from this stupid play already?
So my whole with the tush push, I've never had like super strong opinions, pro or anti. And at first I said, well, you know what? The teams had the opportunity to vote against it. And, like you can't complain about it if you voted for, I don't know how the Giants voted, but
they voted against it. The Jets voted for it, but God knows why.
So, but the thing that I think that's really a problem for the NFL is the false start aspect of it, right? Especially like you're watching in this stage. There's a very obvious false start on one of them, like the third attempt of four or whatever, and they put it on the screen, and the rules analyst is like, "Well, it's easy for us to see in slow motion or whatever." Yeah, but you're gonna, as the NFL, you have to recognize people are going to watch this in slow motion. The broadcast is put in slow motion. So what you're doing is every time this happens, potentially angering every single person on earth who's not an Eagles fan by showing the missed call. They have to figure that out, Dave. I'm not talking about banning it in season, but this false start thing, they said it would be a point of emphasis, and then they're not calling it. That to me feels like the thing the league has to figure out now, because it's going to keep pissing people off. Because last year it was like, well, if you're angry about it, stop it. This year the narrative has shifted to this is cheating. This is not fair because of the missed calls, and I think that's an issue.
Yeah, it's a massive issue, and you see it. And they've actually interviewed I don't remember who it was, like for instance, like the Dean Blandino of the game, where they go to the referee there, and he's like, "Yeah, it's just impossible to referee this play." Well, if you have a play that's impossible to officiate, then should it be a play that's allowed to be run? Would be my question, right?
Yeah.
It's just very strange. You talking about Brian Burns? He's playing at a very high level. I think Thibodeau's playing at a very high level.
Yes.
The
So
one
good
guy,
this year.
so good, difference maker, very quiet, right? But taking care of business.
Great against the run.
Great against the run. Terrific player. The one that, and I'll be honest, like maybe my expectations were a little unfair. I thought, and I know it's early on, I know Michael Strahan was inactive for like the first 4 or 5 games of his NFL career. I thought we'd get more from Abdul Carter right off the jump. Are you a little surprised you're not getting more from him right now?
A little bit, because I thought, with the presence of all the other monsters on the defensive line, he would have one-on-one opportunities to get sacked. You're still seeing him on tape. He's an impactful player. Like when they line him up inside, it's really cool. I think one of the burnt sacks might have happened that way last night, if I remember correctly. He still looks good. Like you could still see he's winning. But I think you're also seeing he's not as good as Brian Burns right now, right? And so it's kind of like a little bit of a comparative thing. When those guys are on the defensive line, he is not the dominant player, perhaps, that people had hoped for when he was drafted. But I also think, like, okay, it's year one. He's still kind of growing into his role. This is a player who, didn't play on the edge the entire time in college. So he's still learning some of the nuances of being a pass rusher. He's probably getting stronger as well, but it doesn't look like that's an issue to me on tape. So I think he's going to get better and better. But I think also the Giants are going to have some interesting contractual decisions to make, right? Like with Thibodeau playing the way he is, they're so stacked and they've invested so much into that defensive line. You can't pay everyone, you can't keep everyone, and there's other needs on the roster. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing to me with Carter and Thibodeau. Right now, they're not in competition, but from a roster construction point, they will be moving forward, and that's going to be a tough decision.
And is there any team, you talk about invested? So think about this, and you can use this. You can take this and put it on like NFL Live, whatever you want to do. You take this, right? So the 3rd pick, Abdul Carter. The 5th pick is Kayvon Thibodeau, right? Dexter Lawrence was a 1st-round pick, and Brian Burns was also a 1st-round pick. They don't just have 1st-round picks. They have high level 1st-round picks and 4 1st-round picks on the defensive front. So they have mortgaged a lot to put these guys together. I have one more question, and then I want to reminisce about one more thing with you quickly. If the Giants have success with Jackson Dart and Scadaboo and they look competent, does it mask Joe Shane and Brian Daboll and their inadequacies of what we've seen? Because you can go back for these drafts with Joe Shane. Even the fact that Joe Shane thought it was a great idea to bring Russell Wilson here, who feels like couldn't be more done in the NFL. And, just look at the guys that they've drafted that have not panned out, i.e. Evan Neal. And the list goes on and on and on. And you watch Tyler Nubin spending money on Paulson Adebo, like bringing back Darius Slayton at $12 million a year. Like it goes on and on and on. But if Dart plays well and those guys keep their jobs, is there like a weird feeling of he's good and we're moving in the right direction, but we've now masked what may be a problem with our coach and our general manager?
I'm going to thread the needle here a little bit and say, and this might be, I'm not saying this is how it's going to play out, but if I was Giants ownership, to me, you don't just want to see Jackson Dart play well in spite of his circumstances. You want to see his circumstances help him down the stretch. So if he's playing well, but it feels like, wow, this offensive line is finally clicking and maybe they got something going with, obviously Scotty was a hit, but like one of these receivers, Robinson, who was like a high draft pick, and let's say he plays really well, then I think it's more likely that Shane deserves, not more likely, but I would say, okay, these players that you drafted, that you signed, you hit on a few of them, then you feel better about keeping the job. But if it's just like, wow, this quarterback is doing really well in spite of everything and people are letting him down, I do not think he should keep his job just because they hit on the quarterback. Does that make sense?
It does. And I totally agree with you. Like if you start to have some hits outside of Dart, but if Dart happens to be the home run of home runs, it can't save everybody's job. Like if you win, because they're not going to win that many games, right? Maybe 5, maybe 6 if things go well. So I mean, John Mara said he needs to see wins. Is that enough wins? I don't know. I don't know the answer, but it concerns me the way that these guys have done their jobs prior to Jackson Dart, and now he comes here and maybe he saves everyone's job. All right. So the last thing I want to mention to you, this is the way I remember it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or not. I get a call. I don't know when you talk to your friends or your family, if you say, I'm here because of Dave Rothenberg.
All the time.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Every day.
Here's what I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. But years ago, it's got to be 10 years. I don't remember. You would know as well as me. I get a call from a program director at ESPN Radio, Louise. Lovely woman, great lady, friend, colleague, all of it. She says, I really think on our Sunday morning show that a writer for ESPN, the magazine, would be really terrific. Her name is Mina Kimes. I said, okay. I said, well, why are you telling me that? She goes, because she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to do radio. Could you call her and convince her to do the show with us? In my mind, and I think this is accurate, you and I had a long chat. I convinced you to do the radio show. You did the radio show. You were amazing. We had so much fun doing that show.
It was
and
fun.
Since then, you have now risen to unbelievable ranks at ESPN. Is there any truth to that story in my mind?
That's about in line with how I remember. I think the missing piece is like the reason I was apprehensive about doing radio is I wasn't an opinionator, right? And I was a writer, and I did a little bit of analysis. I don't remember. I think that was before I started doing Around the Horn too. So I was like, who wants to hear my opinions about anything? I was very nervous about that. And I do remember you conveying to me, like, you can do this, you can give your opinions, people will listen to them. And being so supportive of that, even though I was very nervous. And Eric Carabell was our other
insider,
and who's just this delightful, like, curmudgeon of a guy. I just love him. I thought he's so great, and he's so good at fantasy, and he knows so much stuff. But he was also very supportive and very kind. And the other thing I remember is I was like really over prepared always. Like I would come in with way too many notes on this fantasy football show. And I think I had to learn over time that I didn't need to come in with like 40 pages of notes anytime I did anything. But you guys were just the absolute best for a total newbie in me when it came to giving opinions about anything on radio. So I really appreciate them. Forever grateful for it.
Of course. And the fact that you take a little bit of time out of your busy schedule to join me today on this show is welcome. And we're thrilled about it. And be like, I'm going to reach out to you. I'd love to catch up. And when you're in New York, do that. But yeah, you're a big star now. And we're thrilled to have you on. So thank you. It's great to talk to you. It's great to see you. And
it's good to see you too.
Yeah. All right. You're the best. Thank you, Mina.
Bye, guys.
All right. That, of course, is she's really wonderful. And that story is totally legitimately true. Like, I remember talking to her and being like, well, why do I have to call her? Like, well, you host a show and you run point and everybody likes you and you're someone that we would like to run point on this show. All right. So I called her. We had a long talk, and I remember thinking she's very nice. I didn't realize she'd ever turn into the star that she has turned herself into, but she's really just sensational. So we still have a lot more to do here, guys. So you go nowhere. I mean, this is what we do. Think about where we are here. We're providing A-level guests. We're providing A-level conversation. We're giving you fantasy insight. We're giving you breakdowns. Like, what more could you want from a YouTube platform for 3 days a week than what we are providing for you here on Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession? I know this is a little out of order on the rundown that we have, but I want to bring in Nico and or Steve, or both guys certainly, just to find out where we are as far as some comments and some questions. By the way, how good was Mina?
Great.
I mean,
that was fantastic.
That was unbelievable. She is really wonderful. And you could tell, like me telling you that we are friends, I'm not full of crap. We legitimately have a friendship that goes back quite some time.
Yeah, it was a great interview. I thought she did great. Your questions, as always, were
stop
amazing.
it. Stop placating me.
Dave. Come on.
No, I'm not. I mean, listen, it's true. But you don't have to do that. That's very, very unnecessary. But I see that just the stream of people asking questions, throwing comments, and up and down the side of this thing. You tell me, guys, what do we have questions and comments that we have to get to today?
Yeah, so we have one. We have one coming in from David Carlson. Under what circumstances / results would it be okay with the Giants bringing back Dable?
You know, I don't know, to be honest with you, because it's like you see Darts making progress. You see they're competent of competing with these teams. Is that because Dart's just so special? Is that because Dable has figured something out to make him special? But Mina's right, and I've said this. He can't take hits like this. Now, to take this many hits is not okay in its own right. But on top of taking too many hits, like the guy comes back in from a concussion test. He's in the protocol. He's in the tent. And the way Dable acted, I really thought, and he apologized, but I really thought it was jarring. He goes in the tent, and then he comes out of the tent, and he smacks him in the head, which, whatever, I don't think it's the end of the world. And then it's like, all right, well, we're not going to dial it back. We're going to now amp it up. Now what we expect from you is, no, now we'll double down. Now really run. Now take more punishment. You know, at this stage of his career, this kid is not capable of not going the extra yard, not trying to pick up the first down, not putting his head down and running through a defender. So sometimes if you're a coach, you have to save the player from themselves. And it feels like there's something very off with that right now, that Brian Dable is trying to save himself first and foremost before he even goes on to save the health of Jackson Dart. So that's something I'm very aware of. And it can't continue because he won't make it through another 11 games if you continue to play like this.
Do you think that any part of it has to do with the fact that I guess Russell Wilson right now is just completely incompetent? Like the one play he was in the game, it was a complete
2 plays.
Dud.
They ran the ball,
The
and
bounce
they picked
pass?
up 2 yards, and then he tried to throw a skip pass to Jalen Hyatt, who was wide open, by the way.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you said to me, Russell Wilson, why is he the guy, guys? Jameis Winston they've invested Jameis Winston to be the backup quarterback next season. So why are we playing this game where it has to be Russell Wilson? Here's what they should do. I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is what they should do. Today, they should cut Russell Wilson. They'll be done with him. He can no longer be the backup quarterback on this team. It's not okay. And Jameis Winston, you're the backup quarterback. Because that's what it's going to be next year. We know that, right? We've defined that. Jameis Winston is locked into a 2-year deal. So I don't understand the point of what they're trying to do with this Russell Wilson game. And if you're at the point now, and you're Brian Dable, that you're so desperate that if Jackson Dart goes out for a play or 2, that your mindset is, I have to start taking timeouts so I can get him back in there, and I got to go barrage into the blue tent to see where we're at, you have a real problem in not trusting your backup quarterback right now.
Especially with someone as like Jameis Winston, who's in like such good graces with the fan base. Like everyone loves Jameis. Like the majority.
But I don't care about the fan base. See, that's the thing, Nico. That's another. Listen, you've tend to say very strange things more than Steve, and the Josh Allen take, yet another take, which wasn't great. I don't care about what the fan base thinks.
But he's a reasonable quarterback.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And that's what all it should be. He's a competent backup quarterback. So if you have someone in Jameis Winston, and mind you, Jameis Winston at this point, I believe is better than Russell Wilson. That's all you need to say. You don't need to talk about what the fan base wants, what I want, what you want. That's irrelevant. The coach can't worry about what everybody on the outside wants. The coach needs to worry about who gives me a better chance to win as the backup quarterback. And right now, that's Jameis Winston. And on top of it, you're locked into him for next season. So why would you not make him your backup
quarterback?
Everyone
on the team, too, it seems like. It seems like Russell Wilson came into the game and the entire sideline was like deflated.
The air was sucked out of the entire stadium. You could feel it. What else do you have here? You must have more questions.
We have one from one of our members, Bobby Bugs. I've never been so anxious about a player getting hurt. He also says every time Dart gets hit, he winces a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I feel it, right? Like he gets hit. I'm like, oh, my shoulder, it's hurting me. Like, is he going to be okay? No, I completely agree with you. Every single time Jackson Dart takes a hit, which is often, it's now been 3 times. He had the hamstring. He punched the Chargers player in the helmet. All right. Last week against the Saints, he went down. You're like, uh-oh. This week it happens. It's 3 weeks. And every single time there's been an incident where you've said to yourself, uh-oh, what exactly is happening here? By the way, you mentioned Bobby Bugs real quickly, guys. I just want to let you know. We have members. People are members now of our YouTube channel, and we're thrilled about it. Who are they? Cullum Dempsey, David Vigliotta, Mike Abbott, Tucker Dorf, Bobby Bugs, like you mentioned, and Bobby Bugs. And I don't know the tiers, but he's on the Fanatic tier, which I imagine is a high level tier, and Lindora Dema as well. So if you become a member, we'll shout you out being a member. And again, the super chat is always something you can use to get your question to the front of the line, and we'll throw it right up there on the screen. Anything else that we need to get to?
We have one more coming in from I am Gerald. Would you still want the tush push voted out if coaches were able to challenge false starts?
Probably so. I mean, I guess it would be better, but you can't challenge false starts. It's not something that's in the NFL, right? It's not in a lexicon of language in the NFL rule book that you can challenge false starts. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Could you imagine if you could challenge penalties or lack thereof? Like, how many times does the play clock at 0 and then they snap the football? Happens all the time. How many times do they miss where a guy jumps and it kind of isn't, moves forward and that's a false start? It happens all the time. So you can't just say on the tush push, we're going to institute something where you can challenge a false start. Either you can challenge stuff or you can't. To me, it's not a football play. It's never been a football play. I think it's gross. I think they need to outlaw it. Chris T, we see you. Welcome. He's now a YouTube member, and he's going to be very involved in the DR Giants obsession. It's not a football play. I mean, even if you're a proponent of it, even if you're Jason Kelsey, you're telling me that I need to see this on 3rd down, on 4th down, on 1st down, on 2nd down. I need to watch this thing 4 consecutive plays. No, they have to get rid of it. And once they get rid of it, the Eagles are going to take a massive hit. Because I'll tell you this, you have Saquon Barkley, for God's sakes. You can hand the ball to your $16 million a year running back. By the way, another thing quickly, Cam Scatterboo, better last night than Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, easily.
You cannot convince me otherwise on a bet. You couldn't. Anything else, Nico, Steve? Anything else we have to get to?
That's all we have for right now.
All right. If you guys want to get involved, okay, don't forget, comment on Twitter. Chance for your comments to be put on the stream on Friday. Maybe we'll do this later, right? That's supposed to be done on Fridays. If you want your comments read on the stream, you can now use the super chat. I've mentioned that. And we give you super thanks for using the super chat. And that just kind of helps support us. It allows the guys, Steve and Nico, to bring home a little bit of money and just keep things rolling along. Social media, Instagram, TikTok, on Instagram and TikTok at DR Giants Obsession, on Twitter at DRNYGO, Spotify, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. And again, and we implore you every week, and we're not begging. We'd like you to join and make this a bigger, more productive fan base of Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. Subscribe on YouTube and like us, and away we go. So, guys, let's bring up my locks of the week, if you will, and we'll look at my 3 games. Now, last week, I believe we were 2-1. We improve, and this is a sad thing to say, to 6-9 on the year, but we're trending in the right direction. All right, what are we going to go with this week? Now, you can see I'm smiley there. I'm happy there. And why? Because my picks are starting to hit. And again, if you remember, we have 3 games that were ripped from the jaws of victory. If we had those 3, we'd be 9-6 and not 6-9. We get back to our winning ways this week. Tampa Bay, minus the 6.5. The Jets are brutal. They are a non-competitive team. Oh, no, they're not playing Tampa. This is not, I didn't take, Tampa's not 6.5. No, this is supposed to be Denver minus the 6.5. Now, I don't know if I put in our group chat because I was so tired before that I might have made a mistake. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look. I did. That's not me. So I'll take the blame for it, but I also blame the guys because they should have remedied my mistake. It's not Tampa minus 6.5. That'd be a terrible bet because they're taking on San Francisco and they're giving 3.5. No. It's Denver. So they'll make this correction as we move forward over the weekend into next week. Denver minus 6.5 against the Jets. The Jets are brutal. Denver is playing better football. Denver went into Philadelphia and beat them last week to win by a touchdown. I think that happened. So just make note, it's not Tampa, it's Denver minus the 6.5. I understand that Cleveland is a a team that's not offensively capable right now, but their defense is at a really terrific level. These are two teams that detest each other. They don't get along. They typically play close games. I can get 6 points and get Cleveland. Now, the only thing that gives me hesitation is that Cleveland is going from playing overseas and then back across the pond and playing. But this day and age, with the air travel the way it is, I think it'll be totally fine. I'll take Cleveland plus the 6. And I think they get to Aaron Rodgers. And it's not like they go up against a quarterback that's mobile, quarterback that's active, quarterback that's all that capable of moving his feet. Just the opposite. They go up against a quarterback that's kind of incapable at moving. And that said, I like Myles Garrett and his defensive crew to keep this game very, very close. And Seattle is getting 1 on the road in Jacksonville. And then Jacksonville has turned the opposition over 15 times this year. Seattle's offense is really good. I think they put points up in this game. I think they're begging you to take Jacksonville. I'll take Seattle plus the 1. So just to recap quickly, this is why these guys are just the best in the business. Because I look down, I look up, and now in the magic of television, it's right. Denver minus 6.5, Cleveland plus 6, and Seattle plus 1. So a beautiful job by you guys as usual. I want to focus on the Giants defense a little bit, get into the coaching. We'll see if more comments roll in. Like us, subscribe. We'll get to that. Fantasy football, who you have to play heading into this week. The defense yesterday. Okay, we just talked to Mina about it, and she's right. Brian Burns is playing at an all-pro level. He picked up 2 sacks last night. He's got 7. He is just, and I remember asking beat writers within the Giants locker room saying last year, he was good. He wasn't great. And each of them has said to me, he was so banged up. You have no idea. He probably should have been playing throughout the season last year. And this year, he looks like he's just, unleashed on these offenses. He got to Jalen Hurts twice yesterday. He doesn't quit on any play. The way he plays makes Thibodeau better, makes Abdul Carter better, makes Dexter Lawrence better. And I'll be honest with you, there are times where I'm like, I thought we'd get more from this front 4, but overall, big picture, no. What you see right now from Brian Burns is a very, very high level. Philadelphia had 17 points at the half. Philadelphia ended the game with 17 points. They did not score in the second half. And to me, because you kind of felt it heading in this direction, Giants up 10, Philadelphia driving. It might have been 2nd and 10 at the 15. Remember, they threw the flag. It was going to be pass interference. They picked it up, and then it's 2nd and 10 at the 15, and they go with an all-out blitz. They don't get to Jalen Hurts, but they rush Jalen Hurts. He throws it into the left flat area. Cordell Flott on a wobbly, weakly thrown ball, jumps the route, picks it off, takes it back. Giants put a touchdown on the board after the pass interference on Jalen Hyatt. Scatterbo runs it in again. They go up 34-17, and now it was just pure jubilance and emotion because you knew the Giants were going to win that game. So I don't think the defense is playing great, but they're opportunistic, and Philly did not score a point in the second half. I think the defensive backs continue to show their worth, and it's not great. Flott played well. Adebo is the most penalized cornerback in the NFL. Newman continues to get beat, and I think there are times where they make plays, and you're excited by it. And I think there are times when it's not good, and it is a problem. You saw it on the one play, and you thank God that Jalen Hurts was the guy throwing the football because in first drive, second half for Philadelphia, Hurts drops back. I think it was Flott took a bad angle and went down towards the line of scrimmage. Devontae Smith runs a fly pattern. He's wide open. The ball's thrown up there, and he missed him. And he missed him by a good 5 yards. I mean, he was wide open. It was a dreadful, dreadful throw from Jalen Hurts. Under the radar, Kayvon Thibodeau's under the radar. See, there was a lot of people that said Kayvon Thibodeau was someone that needed to be dealt or before the trade deadline. So why would I deal a guy that I have under control for the rest of this year? And if I choose all of next year, because they've already exercised his option, he's a good player. Is he worthy of the 5th pick in the draft? Probably not. Is he a good defensive end who makes plays? And seems to have a motor that won't turn off right now. Yeah, he really is. So I don't know why there's this idea that Kayvon Thibodeau is not a really good player. Burns is elite right now. Thibodeau is excellent right now. So I think you have to love what you're seeing from these defensive ends at the moment. I saw you guys throw up a question. You can bring it back there. Bobby Bugs wants to know, when the stream gets even bigger and more popular, you should do a morning tailgate at MetLife before a Giants game. All right, listen, there's a million things in the works right now. All right, we have very bright, creative people, and that's not even including Steve and Nico because they're right. But we have other very bright, creative people that are involved in coming up with brainstorms and ideas, exclusively for this Dave Rothenberg Giants obsession. You continue to support us, Bobby. You spread the word, and we will continue to do more and more and more. David Carlson says, you think Dave is going to miss watching the game in his home? You're crazy. Well, we could do something where we did like a tailgate up until a certain time, and then I leave and I rush home to get home to watch the Giants game. I don't know. We will get there. Probably not this year would be my guess, but maybe next season we will get there, and that is the hope. Coaching yesterday, Mina is right. See, Shane Bowen, I still think he leaves a lot to be desired. I'd like to see the Giants be a little bit more aggressive. But I think what you're seeing right now is the Giants do not have unlimited amount of weapons offensive. They just don't. They have Scatterbo, they have Dart, and they have Andrew Thomas. I don't know, he's a weapon, but he's an elite left tackle. And what they're doing is they're getting every ounce of what they have of this offense. They say, how? Well, because Brian Daboll, as crazy as his obsession looks, he should start Jackson Dart's or Brian Daboll's Giants obsession or Brian Daboll's Jackson Dart obsession, because he feels like there is an obsession there. But Brian Daboll, for all the things we call him out for and lack of creativity, he's doing a really nice job of putting Jackson Dart in a position to succeed. I know it goes back to, but you don't want to see him take this amount of punishment, and you don't, but he's putting him in position to succeed. And they have to figure out that gray area where it's like, we'll be aggressive, but aggressive enough to live to see another day. But be excited, because what you're seeing right now is really good offense from the Giants. The Giants never do this. Could you imagine if the Giants had a little better offensive line, which you'd have to think in the offseason they will get, and they had Malik Neighbors, which for next season they will have, and then they drafted or signed as a free agent like a legitimate number 2? Like Wandale becomes a 3. They bring in a legitimate 2. Then they have Malik Neighbors. Like, let your imagination run rampant for a second, because that is something that you're going to see. They're going to go all in. It's going to be Dart. We know that next season. They're going to go all in. They're not paying the quarterback. So what do? You surround the quarterback with as many high leverage, great pieces as you can. And if and when they're able to do that, all of a sudden, I think the offense becomes, forget about now. Little Jordan Humphrey is your big receiver, right? Jalen Hyatt, Wandale Robinson. Imagine when Wandale Robinson is your 3 or your 4, and everyone else moves up in class. All right, let's get to some fantasy football, guys. So obviously, if you had Scatterbo and you played him, you're thrilled. If you have Dart and you played him, you're thrilled. If you have Wandale and you played him, you're also thrilled. And again, I want to give you a little prerequisite. With this, you don't tune in to DRGO and think, play Josh Allen against Atlanta. That's a great start. No, any loser can give you that advice. What we try to do here, and I tell you this every week, but I want to reiterate it, every single week we try to give you the somewhat below the radar plays. If you're like, do I go with this guy or do I not? We'll give you the impetus of what the best thing to do is. So guys, if you could throw up the quarterbacks onto the list here, I would greatly appreciate that. So we have 3 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends as well. Dak Prescott. You say this must bother you. It might ordinarily. Today it does not. Dak Prescott is playing like a top 7 quarterback in the NFL. He really is. He's playing at an incredibly high level. And we talk about this with Jackson Dart. Let's give Dak credit, because not only is Dak playing at an incredibly high level, he's doing it without CeeDee Lamb. Last week he did it without Kevontae Turpin. And he takes guys who you're like, I wonder what Jake Ferguson would be in a different offense, and turns him into like the tight end 1 in fantasy football. So Dak is someone, plays Carolina. It's a gorgeous matchup. You got to play him. Drake May. See, the thing about Drake May, it's kind of Jackson Dartish as well. He's going to run the football. So you're going to get, 200 yards of passing, touchdown and 40 yards of rushing, maybe a touchdown there. And all of a sudden you look and you won't be wowed by any one thing. But at the end of the day, you look at it and say, boy, he gave me 24 points at the quarterback spot. And you could tell he's developing that special rapport with Stephon Diggs as well. And then Justin Herbert. Now you say that Herbert hasn't been great. Fair. But now he goes to Miami. Their defense is abysmal. It's time for Herbert to step out of the doldrums. I think he'll be much better this week. Those are the three quarterbacks that we have. Let's flip it over to running backs now, guys. And we have, again, 3 running backs that we'll go with each and every week, and receivers and tight ends as well. Running backs, they call him Bill, and they call him Bill because his name is Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I don't know why they call him Bill, to be honest with you, but it felt like that was his coming out party last week against the Chargers. They have the Bears. Bears don't stop the run. It's an elite play. Get Bill into your starting lineup. The Jets' run defense is abysmal. J.K. Dobbins is the starting running back, i.e., get him into your lineup. He's taken over the job. Harvey is not even on the radar at this point. Dobbins is the goal line guy. Dobbins is the first down guy. Dobbins needs to be in your lineup. And Rachaad White, and that's kind of a specific to this week play. Bucky Irving is out. White steps in, and I mean, they go to their running backs a ton in the passing game. He's going to get the goal line carries. I like Rachaad White a ton this week. So those are your 3 running back plays as far as wide receiver is concerned. Now, 2 teams are on bye this week, so if you have like a Nico Collins, he can't play, but for the most part, everyone's available. I was wrong with this one, and when I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong. Deebo Samuel, especially with McLaurin out, becomes that alpha receiver. He's a guy that can run the football a little bit. They get him into space, and he's just, you get to the end of the game, and it's like, all right, 6 catches for 80 yards, a touchdown, 3 carries, 29 yards. Like he gets touches, and he is their big weapon when they do not have Terry McLaurin. So I strongly suggest Deebo Samuel being in your starting lineup. Ted McMillan, Cowboys secondary is absolutely abysmal. You've seen the talent that this rookie out of Arizona brings to the table. You want him in your lineup. And Xavier Worthy, this is it now. All right, couple things. A, Rashee Rice comes back next week. So I would even go as far as this. If you're in a league and Xavier Worthy is on your team, maybe even look to deal him after this week. But Xavier Worthy in this game against the Lions, because you know the Lions are going to score points. Well, Kansas City has to score points as well. How do they do that? Through the passing game. And you saw that all of a sudden there's a rapport with Worthy and Patrick Mahomes. They're moving in that direction. Worthy is certainly worth the start this week. And then we'll close it out with tight ends. And so if you can scroll over to the tight ends, I would appreciate that. And what do we have for tight ends? I like how everything is different colors. So not to get confused, wide receivers in red, tight ends in green. Now we do tight ends. Hunter Henry. He's slowly becoming that like kind of safety blanket for Drake May. They're in New Orleans. You saw what the Giants tight. You saw what Theo Johnson did against that secondary in New Orleans. Hunter Henry is better, so I expect him to have a really big game this week. Zach Ertz. I don't expect huge things from Zach Ertz, but again, he's kind of a security blanket for Jaden Daniels. The Bears defense is not great, so I look for him to be capable as well. And this is one that I just find to be absolutely unbelievable, and that's Darren Waller. I mean, you watched him with the Giants. He was brutal, but he's capable with Miami, and he had 2 touchdowns in week 1, and he was really capable and competent last week as well. And, you know, they don't have Tyreek Hill. They have to throw the ball to somebody. Darren Waller feels like he'll be that guy. All right, so there you have it as far as the fantasy component of the show is. We love it. We'd love to do fantasy. We'd love to give you predictions and ideas and all that kind of fun, creative stuff. Now, Nico, get rid of the tight ends. Get rid of the fantasy stuff for me. You pop your beautiful face on for a second, would you? You do that for me, Nico? Where's Nico? Heterosexual way, I think you're a very attractive looking guy. You're just going to play that ad nauseum, aren't you?
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
What's the exact quote in a heterosexual way? Let me hear it. Completely heterosexual way, I think you're a very attractive looking guy. In a completely heterosexual way, I think you're a very attractive looking guy. I stand by that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I don't want to date you, but I find you to be attractive. And you have a girlfriend, right?
I do. Yeah.
So she would probably agree with me.
She probably would.
Who's better looking, you or her? Be honest.
Her way more.
So do you ever look at her and think to yourself, how in the world did I wind up with this girl?
Every day.
Is it pity? Like why is she with you?
I think so. I think she feels bad.
Yeah.
Definitely.
She's probably like a school psychologist. She has like real goals and real aspirations and a real career.
Yeah, close.
right?
Yeah, speech pathologist. Yeah.
So I knew it. I knew
Yeah.
it. So her career is better than you.
Yeah.
Her appearance is better than you.
Correct.
What when you sit down on the couch and put your arm around her at night, what is it you think she looks at in you that she sees?
No idea. Truly no clue.
So you better hold on to her for dear life.
My niece is very cute, and I think she loves her. So maybe that's what's keeping her here.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Do you intend to marry this girl one day?
I do.
All right. Do you think there's any chance you'll do it on the YouTube show?
On the show?
Well, I'm just asking. I'm merely throwing the question out there.
It's a possibility.
How about this? We know it.
There we go.
What 25,000? We're gonna let the professional slap fighter slap you right across the face and knock you unconscious. At 50,000, you propose to this woman.
I don't know if she'll be okay with that
On
the show.
How far are we away from you proposing? I'm not looking for a date,
years.
but we're nowhere near.
We've been dating for 6 years. A couple more, getting our feet into our careers first, and then probably.
Understandable.
Yeah.
But this is it. There's no doubt this is the one.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay. All right. So walk me through the Twitter comments. Please.
So every Friday we're planning on throwing some Twitter comments up onto the stream. So if you're not followed already on our Twitter, that's DRNYGO on Twitter or X. And comment on some of our posts, like
or
our
questions
posts.
as well are welcome and very nice.
Questions, comments on any of our posts. Me and Steve are going to go through them during the week. You can do it throughout the entire week, and we'll have them ready for Friday. I think today we have 3 of them ready.
Oh, that's very nice. Like a 3-pack, because we don't want to inundate, but a nice 3-pack would be terrific.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have
go ahead.
We have 3 that we're going to show today, and if you want to get involved and be in this little Twitter segment that we're going to start producing every Friday, don't forget to follow our DRNYGO Twitter and leave some comments there.
Where are we as far as our YouTube subscribers? Because the
YouTube
number continues to expand as we go day in and day out.
Yeah, YouTube, we are at 1526 as of right now.
1526. All right. So we go on the journey to 2,000.
Yeah, we're
5,000, and at 5,000, Steve's gonna paint his face live on the stream
in Giants colors.
And Giants colors. Then we know 25,000 is he shaves his head bald and you get the slap. All right. So go ahead with your 3 questions, comments here.
Okay. So we have this is the first one coming in from SBR 44. It's just life 44. This is before the Giants game. Sadly, Giants don't have a chance. Let's be real.
Well, SBR 44, I felt the same way that you felt, but unfortunately for you, you're completely wrong. The Giants had more than a chance. See, I remember saying this when I gave my 3 predictions for the game the other day. This will be a 1-score game into the 4th quarter. And I was wrong, because it was at one point a 1-score game in the 4th quarter, and then it wasn't when the Giants took a 17-point lead. It went from 10 to 17, and it wasn't. So, yeah, that's bad on me. So you're wrong thinking they don't have a chance, and I'm wrong for thinking this had a chance of being a 1-score game. All right, question, comment number 2.
We have Muley Abba Bara 51004. A new Josh Allen Dart is born.
Boy, I got to tell you. I mean, if Jackson Dart is even in the same stratosphere as Josh Allen, and again, understand with Josh Allen, with any young quarterback, you're going to have ups and downs. So he was great against the Chargers. He was good in stretches against New Orleans, but also had flaws. He was amazing last night. He might go into Denver, which is one of the better defenses in the NFL, and struggle. It's possible. So there are going to be moments where you're like, uh-oh. But overall, I don't want to say Josh Allen because that's the highest bar, and everyone thinks he's unbelievable except for Nico, who thinks he's just not for some reason. But if he's anywhere near Josh Allen, we're going to be sitting pretty as a Giants fan base. All right. Question 3, comment 3. Go ahead.
This is coming from Trash Talking Tony. It's a little, Sopranos. You got Jackson Dart. We got Brian Burns and Cam Scadaboo. We're feeding the ducks.
Nice. Nice. With Tony Soprano. By the way, James Gandolfini was, in fact, a big Giants fan back in the day. So we appreciate you guys reaching out. Just again, on Twitter, send your questions, your comments, follow us, and we'll do this kind of 3-pack every single Friday. Instagram, TikTok, DR Giants Obsession. On Twitter, DRNYGO. On Spotify, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. On YouTube, like us, subscribe to us. I mean, it's great. I mean, this is as good as it could possibly be. So no Giants on Sunday. We won't be back on Sunday night. Post-game, we did that last night. Enjoy your football. Enjoy your weekend. It's a great time, it feels like, to be a Giants fan. Maybe we're out of the doldrums and heading in the right direction. Enjoy your football. Enjoy your weekend. This has again been another episode of Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession.